Yeah, it was real. It was real.
I'd love to,
But I can't.
and then my horse hit me in the head. I can't think straight for 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It might
You
still
guys
be
ready?
6 months. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
We'll come up with a January meeting. That wasn't, I had to chase Dallas off the ice. All right, well, it's 6:07. Sorry for the tardiness. Let's start the working session. Citizens Forum. I don't see any citizens out there. Oh, we see citizens. Woody's a citizen. Board committees. The school forest was not held. The Finance Committee. We're going to end up talking about that anyway, right? So let's postpone that.
Yep.
Did the Health and Safety get together?
Yes.
They did. They reviewed Brian Bicklum from Northwest Service Co-op, did a run through, and there was the
There's some things in the welding area, some things in the storage room.
Yeah. So a couple cleanup housekeeping issues that we're working on with some staff.
Oh, yeah.
Brian Bicklum, and he's part of our services with the Northwest Service Co-op. Like he helps us do all the testing for lead and water, making sure that we're up to snuff for that.
Does he do like a mock OSHA?
He does kind of like the mock OSHA stuff and brings to the pictures if there's like things aren't getting cleaned up or swept up and any kind of hazard and stuff like that. It's kind of the reason for the meeting. So we had that meeting and then we'll meet again sometime
January.
in January. And did this get fixed and what are the new things that we need to fix? So it's kind of an ongoing cycle. So, but he'll pick certain areas. He doesn't go through everything. Like he might do the bus garage and report on how that is. So.
Okay. And is that pretty much like he and Seth wander around, or does he just wander around on his own?
I think Seth is with him quite a bit. Maybe
Seth?
Seth?
You hanging out with that?
Brian, do you go with Brian, or is he kind of out on his own when he does his?
I walk with them.
Okay.
I'm right there. If you see something, I get to learn what it is. You know, if it's something I don't know about, I do know. So,
All right. The Technology Committee, did that meet?
Yep, we had, I guess this is probably going to be a preliminary meeting. Had a survey from educators, teachers about what they would like to see and some of the problems they're having, that sort of thing, and went over the number, kind of plan right now for the computer turnover amongst the teachers. And there's a fair amount of computers out there, roughly 100 of them for the teachers, and then requests for smart boards and different things. And we'll be meeting again at some point, I think.
Towards the end of January.
Yeah, so.
So that must include like computers and like the media
Chromebooks,
center and the
computer
all of them.
labs,
Yep.
screens. So
And they were talking about, well, like, I think Dell had the contract before in the Chromebooks and stuff, and so there was some discussion about what to get and what's needed and that sort of thing.
so like staff computers, like how often are those rotated out?
There were 8 groups of 10.
8 groups of 10.
So basically, they're on 8-year rotation right now.
Oh, wow.
It's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that came up too. It's like, okay, well, if all they really need it for is like email and Word and some other minor computing, that's one thing. But then there were some other ones that had very specific needs that, okay, well, maybe get them one with a bit more horsepower to it and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Mary and I will be meeting with departments and grade levels and kind of collecting feedback, and then we'll meet with Sheena and look at how much we can afford, and Bill on what will fit our system to come up with a plan for, we're going to order these computers for these people, and so it's,
How long has it been since you've done a meeting like this, or do you do this annually?
we had one earlier this year. During COVID, we kind of fell off that routine.
He said he had a list ready for the revised budget.
Yeah.
So
So he's got a rough list of stuff, and we'll go through that and look at what the staff wants and needs are, and so.
Does the smart board need updating as well? I mean, I know,
It's just like everything else. They design it and create it so that after X number of years, the support kind of goes away, and the cords don't plug in the right way, and USB is a different USB. And
Can't get the bulbs anymore.
it's just
Yeah.
like, it's a, we would not say that,
but there was a point,
there is a sustainability in that market because they created how they design things, in my opinion, but.
You know, I don't know if I've ever seen, like, that's considered a smart board? Or what's
Or is
that?
that just a projector?
Or is that just a projector? I don't know if I've ever seen the smart boards in operation. I keep hearing
Sure.
about these smart boards, but
Okay.
I'm not even entirely sure how they work. So, be interesting.
We'll have to have you come in. I'm sure there's some classrooms you can go out and observe and see how they use them with the kids in the elementary and the high school. And
Sure.
I remember going into Erin Van Eps's room, and she used that fairly literally. It was but it was pretty neat. And then I went the next period and sat in with Mike Papera, and he said, we're not using that. He pointed that out. I said, we're not using it. But I think that's my question too, is it just everybody's getting comfortable enough, the staff gets younger and they get more experienced, and so now we got to have more of them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Moving us into the 21st century before it gets too far behind us.
I mean, you don't use overhead projectors anymore.
Right. Those big ones with the
Mike
big,
Compare would still be using transparencies.
superintendent's report.
okay, I have the enrollment listed on my notes. In your packet, and I sent out earlier, a non-certified substitute pay rate. And in my write-up, I listed kind of where we're at. Technically, probably should have done this right after negotiations. So I have the proposed rates, and also Sheena put together the annual increase that we're estimating. I guess it is what it is. Do you have any questions on any of this? The only concern that I really have as far as our rate is with our A2, our assistant cook salary schedule.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that.
That $13.92, that's our base rate. Step 3, which is where we can, steps 1 through 3, the district has leeway on where we set people. So quite a few people come in with enough experience, we can put them in at a step 3. Anything above that, we have to go through the union. But our step 3 is currently at $14.47. Our step 1 is not competitive. I mean, I don't think I could offer that to anyone. I think you couldn't work at McDonald's and make more than that starting out. So as far as a sub rate, and you can see on how often we get subs coming in for cooking and to help in the kitchen, we don't get a lot of sub hours. Usually if someone's gone,
You just cover it.
they just cover it. I'd like to see that, somewhere between, $14 and $15 would be ideal, but I just went with what we had agreed a while ago with, and the base rate is $13.92, but, a step 2, using that as a base rate for sub rate might help get someone to come in and cover. And I do understand at the same time, you don't want to have a starting employee making as much or less than what a sub would make coming in, so you gotta kind of balance that, so that would be my only thing for you to consider if the board wanted to just stay with the base rate as far as this, setting the sub rate for that, or if you'd want to go to the step 2 would be the only change. My schedule, as I've indicated before, I'm going to be in Israel December 26th through January 11th, and that's 7 student contact days. We have Kirby Borgen, the dean of students, will take care of the elementary, and we got Mary to take care of everything else. Weather-related closures, I've talked to Mary and Brad, and they'll work together in making those decisions and getting that announcement out. Any staff issues or concerns will be handled by Mary. And I will communicate with the administrative team as much as I can. I do have an international cell service, and there is internet over there, so I should be able to jump on from time to time to see how things are going. But it is an 8-hour delay, so if I email any of you and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, I apologize ahead of time. It's
8-hour went the wrong way.
so if you get a strange time, that's why. Also, in your board packet is information on the Region 1 vote, the joint powers, and those. I don't know how you vote for people you don't know, but that's part of the process and the representation for Region 1. We can, you have that information, and we can submit those votes if you'd like. But probably need to do that tonight at the end of the board meeting, so we can send that in. And then finally, the January organizational meeting, I will work with Jill and make sure we have everything outlined and easy to follow for that. But we do need to set a date and time, and I think waiting until I get back later in January, I don't think we want to wait that long. Technically, you want to do it on or as close to the first Monday in January. So I would say we don't have school on the 2nd. You should try to have that organizational meeting one day later that week. Would be my recommendation.
As opposed to the 9th?
You could do it on the 9th. That's pushing it out there a little bit.
We're going to do it early in the morning anyway, right?
Yep.
So it's not like
Yep.
a...
I think the statute says the first Monday in January or as soon as possible thereafter, so.
Do we want to chime in on that right now? Anybody got a schedule that week that you can look at?
Do you have a preference?
I'm at this time available 3rd, 4th, 5th, and even the morning of the 6th, or the 9th.
Everybody going to be around on the 3rd, Tuesday?
That'd be fine.
Works for me.
Jill? Because I guess we're going to depend on you to be there.
What do we need to do with the lunch line? What time are you out there? About 7:45?
And there's 7:45 to 8:15, and then 10:45 to about 12:15. So we did in the morning.
That's every day?
For 7.
Yeah, if we do 7, and like you said, I can't remember it ever going more than 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. And last time Harley covered.
Okay, so if you want to do 7:30, we'll find coverage, but
Yeah.
we'll make it work. It works for everyone.
You got kids to get ready for school, right?
They can figure it out.
Yeah.
Jack might have to go to work earlier.
What about Carla? I wonder if she would be able to do 7, or she...
Should we do 7:30 as a compromise? We'll be done in 15 minutes anyway, so you can maybe arrange coverage, but I don't believe you'll need it. And then that gives you a little more time in the morning, gives us a little more time.
Might
And
make it easier, because she's going to have
Yep.
minutes to organize.
Yep.
Is it possible for her to zoom in on that meeting? Is that still?
It seems like you can't zoom on that one? I thought there last time
Now, when
there
you,
was
You
something
cannot,
about it.
it's different now because that's the public meeting stuff.
I don't
If I remember right, I don't think you cannot just zoom in
Zoom.
anymore.
if you can attend.
If you have to attend, you can view
But not
remotely, but you
participate?
can't vote. So I think the day of being able to hold meetings with people everywhere for public meetings like that are not allowed anymore. I
For
think
the
so.
board members.
Well, if she can't make it, I mean, then the
I mean, it used to
board
be-
chair is an easy choice, right?
That's how it usually
That's,
goes.
that's how it goes. People have not been there, so.
It's not here. All right.
That's
What
how
I
you
remember is like before, you used to have to notify that someone was gonna be remote, and then
Yep.
they could be remote, but you have to notify, and
And you
it
have to
has
post
to be public
it.
and post it, and it's,
And they have
There's
to
a lot
be
of
visible.
hoops to
and they
jump
have to
through.
be visible, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's schedule it for the 3rd of January at 7:30 in the morning. And if for some reason there's a real problem with that, we'll change it. But at the moment, I think when we get to board time, we'll make a motion on making that happen. Okay. Does that wrap up the superintendent's report?
That's all I have, unless anyone has questions for me.
You mentioned that we needed to mull over the 1392, I'm going back to the numbers,
Oh,
versus
yeah.
14 and a quarter or whatever. Is that just a board action that says, let's put that at $14, so at least it appears a little?
I'll
What's
look
it,
at
1447? If I calculated it right, it's probably only gonna be about $55 or something like
Yes.
that.
Not the assistant cook
Yeah,
sub pays.
because there's only 97 hours in question, right, Gina? So it's not a lot of money
So
with the freedom to go to that.
in the crib sheet, it has them listed out. I'm glad Jill did it this way. So in the crib sheet, it says, motion second to increase substitute rates for non-certified positions to include the following. And then she's listed out assistant cook at, para secretary at. And my recommendation would maybe to go with the proposed rates with the exception of the assistant cook. I would recommend 1418, which is our step 2.
1418, did you say?
Yeah.
I thought you said 1447.
Yeah.
You said
That's our step 3. So 1447 is in
the
most,
maximum that we could
that
go
we
to.
could, well, that's where a lot of people that would come in with limited experience, we would start at step 3,
Uh-huh.
because that's the highest step.
That was what I calculated was 1447. I would say that you would have the freedom to go to that. That's what I was thinking.
So that's fine too. 1447 would be fine
You
too.
know,
I
that's
think,
what I was thinking, to have the, so if you had someone experienced who was gonna do that, you might be able to get someone to do it.
well, I think anything we can do to enhance the position in there, right? We're working hard to get people in there. I would agree with you, just it's a minimal increase financially for us, right?
I mean, if there was a lot more sub hours, then we'd have to look closer, but. And that's why I thought if you had the freedom to do that, if you needed to, then that way it wouldn't take board action to, again, we're not saying without question, it should be 4247, but you're at your discretion,
So the proposal or the motion, if someone makes it based on my proposal, would be 1447 for the assistant cook. Substitute, 1624 for a para. Custodian would be 1622 and bus drivers at $20.
So everybody's step 1 except the assistant cook would be.
And the bus drivers too is slightly, the $20 when we set that is slightly over the base rate for bus drivers,
Okay.
which is $19.84. So it's, but the other ones are at the base rate.
We can discuss it again during the meeting, but everybody on board with that? 1447 seems reasonable. And as long as we're there, you must have had that discussion last time, but the 165 is what you settled on at last meeting for the substitute teacher rate,
Yes.
which was the highest number that this general area is throwing out there, but I think there were 3 other schools that had that same rate.
And there was one above it, right?
Roseville was
Roseville was
175, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you make a motion to put it into a percentage of like the step first, a beginning teacher salary? We're just gonna revisit that amount each?
I think every time we settle the contracts would be a good time to
Okay.
revisit it and look at our base rate, and just need to make sure I get that on the radar to make sure we do that.
Okay, well, any other questions for superintendent before we move on? Okay, hearing none. High school principal, Mary Merchant.
Good evening. Typo on my first line, at mid-quarter ended last Friday, the 16th, and students were notified today, and actually some of them are missing assignments and things turned in when the reality of an F hit. But this week is like their grace period, so when we come back from Christmas break on January 3rd is when they would have to start attending study time. So I'm hoping a lot of them are going to take advantage of this week to get things taken care of, because our list was a lot higher than it was first quarter. We were feeling really good about kids and buckling down, and I think some of them let it slide a little too much these last 4.5 weeks. Northwest Technical College got hold of me again, and they are looking to offer online HVAC and plumbing again second semester, so I've gotten that word out to students. One of them who took the class last year, they will allow her to take the next level, so that's exciting. And I'm still hoping to get a few other kids on board, because it's a good relationship we're having. In the spring, they have the kids go there for a day to work on things and to be at the college. So, yeah, it's just a good connection we have with them. Randy Beach started as a foster grandparent last week and is working in a couple of our classrooms. I know he's going to get a hold of Mr. Nelson, because as much as he loves working with the high school kids in math, he's feeling it might be a little beyond his skill set. So either way, we'll try and keep him busy working with kids in the building. And then tomorrow, Jeff and Gretchen Bertram have arranged for some of our high school alumni to come in, and they're going to meet with our 10th through 12th graders who are interested in the ITV room I put from 12:15 to 1, but honestly, it'll go as long as they have questions and the kids want to visit with them to share college experience, things that they were prepared for, things that they want to give our kids advice on to do this, and looking at bringing in 10th and 11th graders, because they still have time to change some and look at what they want their choices to be, to prepare them for when they graduate. And seniors, just advice for them on just what they've learned in a semester being gone and away from home. So looking forward to having those guys in the building tomorrow. And then the Women of Today again sponsored a career fair for our sophomores in the multi-purpose gym, and what a wonderful opportunity for them. And gosh, I think there must have been at least 13 to 15 different businesses that were there to meet with our kids, so that is always a good opportunity for them. Gives them a good reality check on life's expenses. And then the choir concert was last week, which was wonderful. We were a little short on some kids because of sickness, but they still did a wonderful job. And then choir and band is going to sing and play at the Care Center on Wednesday. And then student council has been sponsoring dress-up days this week. And then Thursday will be a big day with a pep fest and bingo for the high school kids. And then everybody in the school attending the 1 o'clock basketball game. So looking forward to that on Thursday before Christmas break. Do you have any questions for me?
What's the, how does the career fair get presented when the women, they put booths out, like this one's for insurance, how does that?
Yep, they have tables and chairs, and then the high school kids have checkoff sheets because they have to go to each one of them, and
Don't-
visit
and-
with each one of
Yeah,
them.
and I think they go and like they say, I want to be, a mechanic. And then don't they
So,
tell
yes,
them,
they
well,
have to- So each of them will pick a job that they want to have, so they'll have an idea of what their salary would be, and then they'll go around and, okay, so this is what insurance costs, or even your house, what kind of house you want to have, so this is what insurance would cost, this is what your mortgage would be, so it's really a real-life reality check for them.
And the sit-downs, like you say, you've got a piece of paper, you got to get this person to check it off for you. They do that one-on-one, like the kids individually go to each table and then,
Yeah, so they're here from, they start right away at 8:15 in the morning when school starts, so they start coming in, I think at 7:30 to get set up. And then I think they were actually through everybody at 10:30. And, next year we are looking at adding juniors to that list. They're kind of our, I almost want to say forgotten grade, because our 10th graders have the careers. And we're back now going to the College and Career Fair in Grand Forks in October that we take all of our sophomores to. Okay, and I can't remember what the focus is going to be, but when you're a junior, you're a little more, most of our juniors have jobs. They have their driver's license, so there's more of a reality. So when they finish at 10:30, we thought, well, that would be a good time. Then they're already all here to then meet with our juniors and go over things. So yeah, that's a great event that we have connected with them.
yeah, women of today are pretty active. I know they've done some other things. They do the prom, for instance, don't they?
Yeah, they do a lot.
All right, well, good. Questions?
I just had a question on the policy for like failing.
Yep,
and then
yep,
sports.
academic eligibility.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
That was, it's just been around a couple of years now.
This is our second year.
And have you gotten feedback on out of teachers? How is it working?
I want to say it's working very well. I mean, okay, because like I said, so the mid-quarter grades came out, and we have quite a few kids with Fs. Honestly, before, I hate to say this, I don't know that it would have phased them the same way it did, because in visiting with kids as they saw their grades today, they're like, yep, I'm getting this turned in. No, I need to get that turned in. So I think they're becoming more conscientious and realizing, yes, I need to get this done, and I don't want to have an F when the day is done. I don't want to retake a class, because, that's the other part when you look at the last 2 years, and we have the credit recovery, but I think because of the support and the constant, with Mrs. Crandall in the library for study time, we actually have a number of kids that now are just going in there when they get here in the morning, because it's a place to go, you can study and be productive. So I want to say very well.
I think, and I only work with students in activities, so I'm a little bit more limited in who I interact with, but I would say that policy itself values effort. So instead of the old policy being, if your grades came out as failing on Friday, you were done. You just had to either sit 2 games or 2 weeks, whichever was longer. Whereas now, the policy is, okay, you have this grace period to get your poop in a group, for lack of a better phrase, right? And then starting Monday, what would be the next, it'll be past break for them, so it's a little bit weird right now, but you have to go to study time to work to get that grade up. So what's happening, I think that's important, is they're actively working to get their work in, as opposed to saying, well, the grade's already decided and the consequences already decided. It doesn't matter what I do from here on out. So I think that the value of effort being put in after the fact the grade check happens is important, because they're going back to do the work that they had missed previously.
And they can continue to practice and play in games,
Right.
as long as
The
we go to
incentive is
study
there.
time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the biggest one would be you'd have to compare the failure rate or poor grade D or F in a class before that and compare it to how it is. I mean, if it's working, then they'd be going to study time and then they'd be getting a C or above in that class at the end of the semester or whatever it is, as opposed to previously if they got a, from what I'm hearing, D or an F, they usually maintained a D or an F. So is that occurring? Are they doing better, or are they just plain and they're still failing or getting a poor grade?
Oh, well, then I will say they're doing better, because if you look from the beginning of the school year, so we had first quarter, mid-quarter grades, and then we had our quarter grades. We've had the shortest list of kids on that since I started here. So to me, that's progress in the right direction. And the nice thing about the mid-quarter grades is it is that wake-up call for kids. It's like you still have this time period to pass it for the quarter.
Good. That sounds like a tangible result.
Yeah.
Other questions before we move on? Okay, Ms. Brandt, Business Office.
So, we were hoping the audit would have been presented tonight, but it's not completed. On November 30th, our final UBARS data was submitted to the state, and it was accepted, no errors. The auditors are still working on some single audit things, so spent most of the day Friday working on some requests, and then today. So hope we're done again. So they did go over some possible findings, just some information that was missing, and they had more requests for Harley, she submitted, and then myself, and then they just have some contract language pieces that they were reviewing. Then November 30th, I had a budget publication report that was due to the county. That was done. And then STAR reporting, which is our staff licensure reporting, and then I also report all our non-certified staff to the state. So that was completed, done, error-free. And I attached our fiscal year 2022 information, so it's just continuation from last month. It's our audited data. All numbers are exactly as it was submitted to the state. And I also included our data, our finances for ending November 30th, 2022. So our year-to-date expenditures are $3,091,141.53, and our revenues $2,883,317.83, for a deficit of $207,823.70. And each month I'll continue to attach our bank rec cash report, just to show that it's been completed each month and what our total cash and investments are, and that it also matches our bank reconciliation. And each month, the student activity guideline will also be included. And once bank rec is completed, it will be sent to all student activity advisors. So I did send this out last week. So it shows what our balance is for each activity. And then I also send the advisors a list of their expenditures for the whole month and a list of their revenues for the whole month. I want our advisors reviewing that so they always know their balance and their account, and also just to make sure that their expenses and revenues are accurate and that they So I do have people ask once in a while, and that's good that they're auditing their own information for their activity. Mary and I did talk about some accounts that can be eliminated or even combined. And we will do that, but I want to wait until our final audit is presented by the auditors, just in case they have a recommendation for our accounts. And then we can decide what we want to do, and then we'll ask for board approval to make the changes. So right now, like class of 2022, it's showing that they have money available. It was more than likely spent. It was just a lot that wasn't able to be coded with all the credit cards. So our auditors will more than likely make a recommendation on the leftover money. It will just be wiped clean, basically. So there won't be any funds left. And I attached all the same monthly reports. Again, not much of a difference from last month. And then our fund balances should be pretty accurate based on our audited data. The final audit report might vary slightly too, but. So hopefully we'll have everything ready at the January school board meeting.
What's the report that you give the county? I think that's probably the first time I've heard that.
Budget publication report. So it's been done in the past, but it's been mandated. But it was new this year where they had the report and they asked us to submit it by, I want to say September 30th, which wasn't possible because we were still going through audit. So they asked that we sent it by November 30th. So that was completed and sent. Each year, we're just wondering, the state has talked about eliminating that report altogether, but you should get it put on the website though. It's just a report that compares the last couple years in our fund balances, and the fund balances are expenditures and revenues for each year, and then I also put in our projected budget for this year and what we could potentially end at. So it's just more of a tax information for.
It's a printed version of like a tax and truth and taxation meeting, effectively.
Yeah, basically, it's just summarizing what's in.
So the county takes that? Do they publish it or anything?
No, I honestly, this is the first year it's been actually mandated to go to the county.
Oh, okay. So it's maybe something that's been done maybe in the past, but like this is the first year it had to be.
It for sure had to be done this
Okay.
year, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it's something they're going to continue. They've already talked about eliminating it, so, you know.
But it's nice information to put on the website for the public to see.
Yeah, we
You
should.
can kind of see what we've been doing the last few years, and so I think it's good information for the public.
Yeah, whatever you want put up there, email it to me and I'll find a spot.
Okay. Where are we going? Okay, Activities Director, Sam Lyon. Community Ed.
So Lisa and I met, first of all, Lisa and I met, Beckstrand and I met to discuss the pool. You've noticed that we've reduced our hours because we're short on staffing. We've got a proposal that we'd like to put forward that kind of changes the staffing model and addresses some of the pay things that you're doing in other places in the school. So this is only a heads up to, I think Jeff suggested, I'm gonna send you the proposal via email. You can chew on it, ask questions, and then send it back to me and we'll tweak it and or answer questions as needed so that we can have something to pass in January. So this is only a heads up to think to be on the lookout for that here after Christmas.
Is staffing lifeguards or
Yes,
other?
lifeguards. Yeah, the hope being that if we can change the model so that we're spreading the certified lifeguards out so that they can cover more times, and then supplementing with a different role, which is like a safety team member, we can increase the usage and opportunity of usage. The downfall that's happening right now is that we don't have enough staff. It's this kind of ugly figure eight. We don't have enough staff, so that we're reducing our hours, which means that our numbers are smaller because we don't have as many hours. So, in order to try and reverse that tide, so to speak, we're trying to figure out ways to open it up more. So yeah, I think Lisa and I feel good about what we're putting together. And we'll have data and kind of what the cost difference will be on some of that as well. So just a heads up to watch out for that. We're working on it. Community ed side, we have elementary basketball going, which is exciting. We have a 4th through 6th grade boys team, a 6th grade girls team, a 4th through 5th grade girls team, a 2nd and 3rd grade team, and a kindergarten and 1st grade team. You want to see chaos, managed chaos at its finest, show up at 2:45 in that multi-purpose gym on Wednesdays. Those kids are so pumped to be there, and it is total chaos, but no more fun has ever been had. They're really psyched to be there. We're adding, so you'll remember we started a women's strength and conditioning class this fall. We're doing, Danielle Abel, who's a fitness coach here in town, is doing a 9-week progression. A little bit of an experiment because we did not know, she had some interest in it, but we just didn't know what the turnout was going to be. We had 17 women sign up for that. It is an exclusively women's course. We closed down the weight room for about an hour and a half on Tuesdays, and had 17 women pay $100 at the start of the class to buy this 9-week class. I say that because I think I was excited about people being invested and interested in something like that. So we're going to do another course starting in January. We anticipate some returners from the original class, but also hoping that we can expand if there are more people who want to join. We are given the success of that, thinking we'll do this on a quarterly basis. So she'll do kind of 4 sessions a year of this 9-week progression, and she's got people working through. They meet once a week, but they do online interaction throughout the rest of the week so that people are going multiple times a week with what she's offering. So incredibly excited about that. I think she is meeting a need we have in the community, and so we're excited to be continuing that. Activities, we have the usual slate for our high school activities: hockey, girls basketball, boys basketball, one act play, knowledge bowl, good turnouts and all of those things. Referees, varsity and junior high referees continue to be a challenge, and we're not alone in that. We tried, this is the most recent update, tried to schedule a JV hockey game for Thursday, and that got canceled for tonight, and we can't find refs. So that's not even just local refs either. That's our association, who is us, Warroad, Roseau, Kitson, asking if someone's available, and they don't have enough guys to spread the wealth. So it continues to be a challenge. You'll probably hear more of that as the season goes on for both hockey and basketball. And it's a problem that's happening across the state, but it's just kind of the way it is at this point until we can figure out, until the high school athletics, right, can figure out how to recruit and retain more referees. So the Bears Den issue has been solved for now through some key people stepping up to fill spots. If you've been to a basketball game, you'll notice that our menu has been reduced, but we are glad and happy to be offering something for folks. Many thanks to Micah Hack, who has stepped up for about half the games, And then Diane Carlos is stepping up for the other half. And Mary even stepped in on Friday and contributed. So we're feeling good about that. We do need to be thinking about next year, like what's the model. I think I'm encouraged to hear about the wage change for kitchen staff. I think that'll help. Because Jackie's open to, if she gets a full staff of kitchen folks, we could go back to the model where they rotate a kitchen manager person through each game, but she hasn't been able to do that because she hasn't had a full staff. So, just 3 other things that I'm going to add to the list, and these are actually in the rest of your agenda. We have 3 donations that you're approving tonight. One is from Whitetails Unlimited for $2,000 to the archery program. Many thanks to them. They're going to be buying some more equipment, some shirts for their participants. We have about, I think it's 16 kids in that currently. They meet once a week on Mondays. And they will actually, some of that money will be used to help them travel to archery meets, some shoots, which will be cool. Fitness on Main donated $500 to go toward new elementary basketball jerseys. That'll cover our 4th through 6th grade groups. And so many thanks to them. Excited that those jerseys are in, so they will be wearing them this season. And then the final one is a $300 donation from AAA to the fan buses that we ran for the volleyball playoffs. And just a little bit of statistics on that. I think this was our second, Mary and I did this very official post-it note math. This was the second volleyball game to Crookston. We had 16, this is high school students, 16 high school students on the volleyball team, 22 students on the pep band bus, 41 students on the fan bus, and that included, and then we approximated probably another 20 to 25 students who went with their parents or other rides there, totaling, let's say, about 100 to 105 students, which tips us over at over 50% of our high school student body was at that Crookston game, which I think we should be incredibly proud of our student body to be showing up like that for a fun and exciting game. I just think there's a lot of
3 hours away.
3 hours away. But the pep band, or the fan bus, I think is an important part of that, and that's why I want to highlight AAA from helping make it happen. 41 of those kids went on the fan bus, and maybe 10 would have gone had we not done a fan bus. They would have gotten a ride from other parents or something. Excuse me. And that band would not have gone, right? So I just think it's an important, we put effort into those van buses, and I think they're important experiences for our students, and students do take advantage of them. So thanks to AAA for helping support those.
I think
Okay, that's all I got. Any questions?
most parents would want to see their kids on that bus than
Right.
hopping in their own cars, 3 hours
Yes.
there, distractions in the car, 3 hours back.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Can I interject? I was on that bus with the kids, and it was just interesting listening to the conversations and then realizing most of those kids have never, ever been on a fan bus. And that is something for me as a high school kid was just matter of fact, and it was like just that experience of being on a bus for that amount of time and getting off and getting on, and you should have heard a couple of the kids as we're walking in to the college, and they're going, is this a college? I mean, just the whole experience for those kids was wonderful in so many ways that you don't realize what a fan bus adds for those kids.
Any other questions for me on community ed activities?
What is, under community ed, what is 2.3 shifting? Did I blank out?
Oh, I think that was, I got distracted in the middle of that.
Okay. I thought maybe I did.
No, you're good.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
All right, hearing no other questions, let's move on. Seth Putz. Buildings and
First thing
grounds.
we got on there is Lake Lowitz School has been awarded a grant for for 2 new bottle fill stations. It's a program that came through. A friend of mine from the cities sent me up the information, and because of our population, student body, and income up here, and the past quite a few years that we've been pushing with bottle fill stations and keep the health thing going. They said we qualify, no problem at all. So we're waiting for the okay for them so we can actually start on it. We cannot buy anything or do anything until we get the okay for them to do that. So that was actually kind of exciting, so we could keep that going. The last time we did it was just 2019, just before COVID. We had 2 from the hospital that we got. So this is kind of neat that we get to keep that going. The second is the new cleaning equipment. We went through some of the stuff with the buildings and grounds committee, and Jeff and I, and then Sheena and I sat down, and we purchased a scrubber, a floor sweeper, and a carpet extractor, something that has been needed for many, many years. That's got 5 tabs. We're kind of excited about that. My crew's really excited about it. It's a lot more ergonomical, a lot safer than the equipment that we have now because all the advances in the shapes and designs that they have on them. The carpet extractor itself is going to allow for encapsulation, which is a little bit different than cleaning the carpets. It uses less than 1/3 of the water and 1/3 of the chemical, but still does cleaning comparable to deep cleaning. So we'll be able to do that every 3 years, save on chemicals, save on labor, and save on water, and then every 3rd year go in and do a deep cleaning. So that's going to help out quite a bit on the budget. And the last one is the update on snow removal. That's been a very interesting thing. We've been very busy, and it's been a very big learning experience for them and me working with them moving forward. They're getting the hang of it. They're getting tired. They're getting the hang of it.
They got thrown into the deep end right off the bat, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They're very, very happy that they're very, very happy to be working for the school. And they're very open to any suggestions. We keep a very open communication. We're on the phone a lot. They have questions for me. I have questions for them. So they're very, very willing to work with everything on it. So, and so far, as they're learning, the job gets done better and better and better and better. They're doing a good job keeping the sidewalks clean. That's all I got.
Questions for Seth? How do we qualify for a bottle fill grant? Is it that we have like an extraordinary number of transmittable sicknesses, each year? Or?
No, actually, it's based upon finances the school has, the student body, and like the population of Lake Lewis County and everything. They base all that, it comes down to if the school decided to do it, if they needed them, could they afford it? And the answer is no. It's not something that's in the budget. It's a little bit extraordinary.
Aren't they like $5,000 a piece or something crazy? They're expensive, right? How much are they a piece?
They're about $1,700 a piece.
17, okay. Not quite as bad as what I thought.
Yeah, that's for the external ones. That would be replacing 90% of the autofill stations and water fountains we have are external. We do have 2 internal that are inside the wall down at the pool. Just one of those costs $2,700 to get that put in there. So they have that grant so we can cover that, and that's huge. One of the things Woody and I were talking about just a little bit ago, if we could put them like, my thoughts of putting, I want another one in the commons, so we got 2. That way more people can go. They don't have to stand in line. You can get them going through faster. The other one would be at the west end, down by the gyms. We only have one there, put a second one there for the same reason. If kids can go through fast without having to wait, they're more apt to use it.
And these aren't, they've got filters and stuff on them and everything, right? Yeah.
Yep, everything's filtered.
More questions? move on to food service. Anything? Okay, anything out of transportation?
Brad is home with a sick child tonight. He did put in information on the petroleum storage tank release notice. I don't have an update on where that is at this time. I don't know if Seth has heard anything or not.
I know we had talked about getting a second opinion once we got the official MPCA notice, so if we were right on the bubble, it would definitely be worth getting a second opinion.
I was pleased to see that the state still does pay for some of the work. I was surprised.
What, some sort of a super fund?
Yeah, it says as long as you use a certified, have to use a certified, someone who is registered with them to do the removal, but I don't know how much they pay, but anything they pay is welcome.
Yeah. So we'll,
Because it can be really expensive.
So we'll keep you updated as more information comes in. And then the other thing on his list was the Safe Routes to Schools grant. And we had a couple representatives from the Headwaters Regional Development Commission up. And we've completed student travel tally. We've had a parent survey. And they did an environment and policy assessment. So that continues to move forward. And we're talking about some really big, expensive projects to some small, simple things, and we'll see where this process lands us. But it's a good process, and I think what we're going to at least get out of it is a couple options on where some money could be for certain projects and funding for that. So, and they came and did a evaluation of kind of what they sat out and hid out in the parking lot one morning and watched the buses and cars roll in, and I took note of how things worked and did not work so well, and they did that again at the end of the day, and so we'll continue to move forward with that and keep you posted on any grant opportunities that come from it. So.
Okay. Further discussion, questions? Okay, I'm going to close the working session. Anybody got to take a break? Right into the regular meeting? Okay. Let's call the meeting to order at 7:05 and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Johnson, Sonstagard. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Board presenters. None. Written communications. That was the election forms that we talked about in the work session. Everybody's aware of that. Okay. Any old business? New business? The approval of the, that's right, we've broken this down separately, didn't we? The approval of the November 28th, 2022 board meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ellis.
I'll second.
Second by Sonstagard. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. I need approval of the invoices, financial statements, bank reconciliations, wire transfers, and purchase card statements.
Make the motion.
Johnson,
Second that.
second by Ellis. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. I need an approval of personnel resignations, retirements, and appointments, specifically the resignation of Kathy Weeman as bus driver.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sonstegard,
Second.
second by Johnson. Discussion? Thank you, Kathy Weeman, for service. She, number of years.
Off the top of my head, I can't.
Been around though for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Driving for.
Yep.
Thank you for doing that. And, okay, hearing no further discussions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. And I need an approval of the resolution 2022-2023-12 to establish combined polling places for 2023.
Make the motion.
Motion by Johnson.
I'll second.
Second by Sonstegard. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Need an approval or a motion and a second, for the approval of Resolution 2022-2023-13, adopting a final levy for 2022, payable 2023.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Trask, second by Johnson. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. We need an approval and a second for the contract agreement for the professional services agreement with Northland Counseling Center.
Make the motion.
Motion by Johnson, second by Lyon. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Contract agreement unanimously approved. Motion and a second to increase substitute rates for non-certified positions, specifically assistant cook to $14.47 or step 3, and the others, para secretary $16.24, custodian $16.22, and bus driver $20 as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second by Johnson, first by Ellis. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve policies for the second and third readings of 712 video surveillance other than on buses. And for policies that are up for approval on the third and final reading, number 524, Internet Acceptable Use and Safety Policy, 515, Protection and Privacy of Pupil Records, and 722, Pupil Data Requests.
Public data requests.
No, I'm sorry, Public Data Requests.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Motion by Johnson, second by Lyon. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2022-2023-14, accepting a donation of $300 from the AAA Booster Club for the volleyball fan buses that travel to Bagley and Crookston.
I'll make a,
Motion by Trask,
I'll second.
second by Sonstegard. Again, working session, we said thanks, so in this session, we'll say thanks. Any other discussion? Seems like a good deal. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Motion and a second to approve the resolution 2022-2023-15, accepting a donation of $2,000 from Whitetails Unlimited for the Community Ed Archery Program.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Ellis. Discussion. Again, they've been pretty generous, Whitetails. They've
Very
been
good.
organized and generous, which I know, I think that's, isn't it Buck doing a lot of that? I appreciate that, because this is year 3 or 4 for something like that, and well attended every time, so. Further discussion? Okay, well, thank you. Motion and a second already in. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. That motion passes unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2022-2023-16, accepting a donation of $500 from Fitness on Main for community ed elementary basketball jerseys.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sonstergaard, second by Ellis. And thank you again. Community comes out when we need something. The other one that Sam didn't bring up, but I always get a sounding board from her on what those things, but she was obviously quite pumped about this basketball program. It's fun to see her get excited, but I know that is fun in there. But the other one was that White Elephant program. Am I quoting that right? Which she said was, if we should have the public come in and view that, they're just no better time of year and no better stuff to watch.
Yeah, that's always been a really positive for the kids.
Yeah, yeah. Big deal, positive for the elementary and for everybody involved, because people are rapping, kids are, our high schoolers are in here, people are donating stuff from the community. I mean, it's a good deal.
We're helping kids get to the bus and they get and their bags are ripping and falling. How they get home with anything, I don't know. They get them on the bus and it's fun.
Well, I won't, because I know we're on public there, but she was telling me some of the stories there, but I just would love to be in those households for some of those things that are.
They get so excited. That's what I've always heard, the kids are so excited and they can buy gifts from multiple people and they really, I'm sure Jill's gotten some really interesting things.
And you gotta display them proudly.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't forget.
Mom, what did you do with that?
All right, thank you for that. All that, anyway, motion and a second for that has been achieved for that $500 from Fitness on Main, so thank you for doing that, and for the elementary basketball jerseys. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. I need a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2022-2023-17, accepting a donation of $500 from Sportsman's Lodge for the backpack program.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Second by Sonstergaard, first by Johnson. Way to go, Sportsman stepping up, new ownership, but there are things coming out of there. That's good. Part of the community. We take the backpack donations sometimes for granted too. That's been going, that's what, 6-7 years in existence now? Is it?
Probably close, at least 10, I'm sure.
Is it?
Maybe longer than that.
I think in 2011, 2012.
Okay. Wow, yeah, 10 years.
Yeah, but people just keep giving to it, understanding of the importance. It's like the fan bus, you understand it, so you keep it going, I guess. Further discussion on that, other than the thank you to Sportsman? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Further discussion, the organizational meeting, we agreed in the working session would be on January 3rd at 7:30 a.m. Somebody going to take the responsibility of alerting Carla? Do you want me to do that as board chair?
Yeah, I can let her know too. And we'll post it. Do you want to have it in here or in my office?
We'll go
Your
here.
office should
Oh.
suffice.
Whatever's open, is that going to be open at that?
Whichever's easier.
Okay.
It's gonna be brief.
Probably something in
Yeah,
my
like
office.
usually you don't
All
have
right.
any of the chairs or anything.
Yeah, we can stand in Jeff's office. That'll be perfect. We'll be done. So it's in the superintendent's office. Discussions? Anything else? Well, what are we, about 7:17? Okay. Meeting adjourned. There's the flu.